Welcome, my weary dreamers. Tonight, we plunge into the gritty shadows of Neo Gotham, where the legacy of the Dark Knight continues, not through the flicker of a bat signal, but through the pulses of technology and the resolve of a new generation. But first, if you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit the shway button or launch a batarang at the notification bell. Your support helps others find the channel and become weary dreamers. For now, get cozy and join me on tonight's journey through the neon-lit universe of Batman Beyond. The Neo Gotham Community Center's Grand Hall buzzed with activity as volunteers hung Thanksgiving decorations and arranged tables. Terry McGinnis stood on a ladder, struggling to secure a banner that read, "Wayne Foundation Thanksgiving Banquet and Fundraiser," while fighting back a yawn. "A little higher," called Chelsea, one of Dana's longtime friends. Terry stretched, wincing as his shoulder muscles protested. Last night's patrol had been brutal. A jewelry store heist had turned into a 3-hour chase across Neo Gotham's skyline. He'd gotten maybe 2 hours of sleep. "You look like slag warmed over," Nelson Nash commented, carrying a stack of chairs past Terry. Even years after high school, Nelson still found ways to needle him. "Thanks for the update," Terry muttered, finally securing the banner. He climbed down, rolling his shoulder discreetly. The community center director, Ms. Chen, approached with a clipboard. "Terry, thank you again for convincing Mr. Wayne to host this event. The donations will help so many families this winter." He nodded, managing a smile. It wasn't hard. Deep down, the old man's got a heart. Ms. Chen laughed. "Well, it's the first public Wayne Foundation event in years. Everyone's talking about Bruce Wayne actually attending a social gathering." "Yeah," Terry said. "Practically a miracle." His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. "We're running a little late. Matt spilled something on his good clothes. See you in 20. As Terry pocketed his phone, he noticed 2 teenagers peering through the window from outside. One wore a distinctive purple bandana, a calling card of the Jokerz gang. They locked eyes with him momentarily before disappearing down an alley. Terry frowned. Probably nothing. The Jokerz wouldn't be stupid enough to hit a charity event, would they? Still, he made a mental note to scan the perimeter before Bruce arrived. The sleek, autonomous Wayne Powers car pulled up to the curb, its black surface gleaming under the community center's lights. Terry was waiting at the entrance when the doors opened. First emerged Bruce Wayne, leaning heavily on his cane, but looking sharp in a tailored black suit that somehow made him appear both distinguished and intimidating despite his age. Following him was Maxine Gibson, stunning in a burgundy dress with her signature pink hair styled elegantly. "Nice of you to dress up, McGinnis," Bruce commented dryly, eyeing Terry's hurriedly pressed shirt and slacks. "Some of us were hanging decorations all afternoon," he replied with a smirk. Max rolled her eyes at their exchange. "Will you two ever stop?" It's Thanksgiving, for crying out loud. As they entered, Terry couldn't help but notice the whispers that followed Bruce. The reclusive billionaire out in public was still headline-worthy in Neo Gotham. Terry's family arrived moments later, Mary fussing with Matt's collar. "There you are, hun," Mary said, giving her son a quick hug. "Oh, Mr. Wayne, how nice to see you. And Maxine, you look lovely." "Thanks, Mrs. McGinnis," Max said warmly, while Bruce forced a reluctant smile in response. Mary turned to Terry, her eyes bright. "Why didn't you tell me Max is working for Mr. Wayne now?" I didn't mention it?" "No, Twip. What gives?" Matt interjected. Maxine grinned, stepping in between the siblings. "Just started last month. I'm Mr. Wayne's new chauffeur and tech assistant. Means Terry's off driving duty." "Mrs. Gibson has a remarkable aptitude for technology," Bruce added, his tone softer than usual. "And she doesn't drive like she's in a race, unlike some people." Mary beamed. "That's wonderful. You can spend more time with family now." She squeezed Terry's arm, her eyes momentarily distant. "Just in time for the holidays." Terry recognized that look, the same one she got on his father's birthday, or their anniversary. Despite her strength, those moments of vulnerability always caught at his heart. "Yeah, Mom. More family time sounds shway." Bruce cleared his throat. "Mrs. McGinnis, would you mind showing me to my table? I'm afraid standing for too long isn't as easy as it once was." "Of course, Mr. Wayne." Mary led Bruce toward the VIP section, with Matt trailing behind, peppering Bruce with questions about his car. Maxine nudged Terry. "So, the old man's really making an effort tonight?" "Yeah, miracles do happen." Max lowered her voice. "You look exhausted. Rough night?" "The Kensington heist crew. 3 hours of chase, 2 hours of sleep." "Ouch. Any chance those dregs will crash this party too?" Terry shook his head. "They're in lockup, but..." He hesitated, then told her about the Jokerz he spotted earlier. Max's eyes narrowed. "Want me to run facial recognition through my new phone?" She opened up her purse just enough to reveal a sleek device, clearly modified with Wayne's technology. "Since when did you get access to..." Terry started, then shook his head. "Never mind. I forget you're practically Bruce's second protege now." "He trusts me," Max said, her tone a mix of pride and seriousness. "Took time, but I've officially got full Batcave privileges. The old man even lets me update his security systems." "Impressive. Speaking of which, your backpack's in the coat check room. I had the valet bring it from the car, just in case." Terry glanced toward the mentioned room, relief washing over him. Having the batsuit nearby was always comforting. With the banquet underway, Terry found himself seated between his mother and Max, with Matt across from him, next to Bruce. The first course had just been served when Mary leaned toward him. "I've barely seen you this month," she said quietly. "Even when you're home, you're asleep or rushing out." Terry shifted uncomfortably. "Work's been crazy. You know how it is." Mary's eyes softened. "I do know. But Terry, your father always made time." She paused, a flash of old pain crossing her features. "He wouldn't want you missing out on family moments." The mention of his father gave Terry pause. I know, Mom. I'm trying. Mary smiled, patting his hand. That's all I ask. And with Max helping Mr. Wayne now, maybe you'll have more time for family. Terry swallowed hard. Another responsibility. Another way he was falling short while trying to save everyone else. As the meal continued, Terry noticed a maintenance worker he didn't recognize moving through a side door marked "Staff Only." The worker's bright green shoelaces caught his attention, a popular color among Jokerz. Terry nudged Max discreetly and nodded toward the door. "Bathroom break?" she inquired casually, loud enough for the table to hear. "Yeah, I'll be right back," Terry replied, excusing himself from the table. Maxine watched Terry slip away, knowing exactly what he was doing. The young man never stopped being Batman, even for one night. She turned her attention back to Bruce, who was now engaged in conversation with Mrs. McGinnis about the community center's programs. It still amazed Max how much her relationship with Bruce Wayne had evolved over the past year. From suspicious old recluse to mentor, though he'd never used that word. The day he'd finally allowed her into the Batcave had been a milestone. His gruff, "Since you won't stop interfering anyway, you might as well do it competently," serving as his version of a welcome. Now she split her time between college, helping Terry, and officially working for Wayne Powers, a cover that also happened to be genuine career advancement. Bruce trusted her, not just with his equipment, but with his secrets, his legacy. The Wayne Foundation has always supported community initiatives, Bruce was saying to Mary. Though I admit I've been less visible in recent years. Hibernating is more like it, Maxine interjected with a grin. Bruce shot her a look that would have intimidated most people. Max just smiled wider. Mr. Wayne values his privacy, Mary said diplomatically. Too much, Maxine replied. I've been trying to drag him out more. Vitamin D deficiency is real, you know. I get plenty of sun, Ms. Gibson, Bruce retorted. Sure you do, in the 5 minutes it takes to walk from your car to whatever building you're entering. Matt laughed. She's got you there, Mr. Wayne. Bruce's mouth twitched in what might have been the ghost of a smile. It made him look younger, less haunted. These were the moments Max lived for, reminders that somewhere inside the hardened old man still lived a human being capable of connection. Max's phone vibrated with a text from Terry. Just some jokers outside. Scared them off. Keep an eye on things. She looked up to see him re-entering the hall, simultaneously checking a room filled with Neo Gotham's elite and scanning for potential threats. Always the Guardian, even without the suit. Something in her chest tightened. Terry gave so much and got so little in return. While Bruce had chosen his isolation, McGinnis was forced into it by circumstance and duty. It wasn't fair. Her thoughts were interrupted as waiters brought the main course, traditional Thanksgiving turkey with all the trimmings. As they served, Max noticed one waiter with a nervous demeanor, constantly checking his watch. Another red flag. She made a mental note to tell Terry, then realized Bruce had already noticed. His eyes tracked the waiter with the same precision that had once made criminals flee from Batman's shadow. Dana Tan arrived during the main course, apologizing profusely for her lateness. She looked stunning in a silver dress, her long black hair cascading over her shoulders. Dad's business dinner ran late, she explained, sliding into the empty chair next to Terry. I couldn't leave until the clients did. You're here now, Terry said, his face lighting up in a way Max hadn't seen all evening. Whatever exhaustion he felt, Dana's presence seemed to wash it away momentarily. Dana, so good to see you, Mary said warmly. How's your father? As they chatted, Max observed Terry's face. The softness there when he looked at Dana, the guilt that followed. She knew that expression well. It was the same one he wore when cancelling plans or disappearing mid-date because of his duties. You look tired, Dana noted quietly, her concerned gaze resting on Terry. Long week. The usual, he replied with a forced smile. Wayne keeps me busy. Dana's expression faltered slightly. I was hoping we could catch a movie after this. The new Sentries film is playing at midnight. Terry hesitated, glancing briefly at Bruce. I'd love to, but Mr. Wayne needs you tonight, Dana finished for him, her voice holding resignation rather than anger. It's fine. I get it. The lie hung between them, made heavier by its familiarity. Max felt a pang of sympathy for both of them. Actually, Maxine interrupted, I'm taking over for Terry tonight. Mr. Wayne's my responsibility now. She threw a meaningful look at Bruce. Right, boss? Bruce raised an eyebrow but nodded. Ms. Gibson has things well in hand. Dana brightened. Really? That's Shui. Yeah, Terry said, looking at Max gratefully. Shui. Another commotion near the entrance drew their attention. This time, it was Commissioner Barbara Gordon arriving with her husband, District Attorney Sam Young. The power couple of Neo Gotham made their way toward the VIP section, pausing to greet Bruce. Wayne, Barbara said with a nod that contained decades of complicated history. Commissioner, Bruce replied, equally loaded. Glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss it, she said, her eyes scanning the room with professional thoroughness before landing on Terry. Something unspoken passed between them, an acknowledgement of their shared secret. As they moved on, Terry turned back to Dana, taking her hand under the table. So, midnight movie? It's a date, Dana replied, her smile genuine for the first time that evening. Max caught Bruce watching the exchange, his expression unreadable, but she thought she detected something like regret in those aged blue eyes, perhaps remembering his own sacrificed relationships. Outside, through the large windows, the first snow of the season began to fall, dusting Neo Gotham in white. The festive atmosphere intensified as people noticed, pointing and smiling at the holiday snowfall. No one noticed the three figures in colourful coats huddled near the service entrance, or the distinctive green and purple hair partially visible beneath their hoods. No one except Terry, whose smile never quite reached his eyes as he continued scanning the room, even while holding Dana's hand. Batman never truly took a night off, not even for Thanksgiving. The sound of shattering glass silenced the banquet hall. A canister rolled across the polished floor, hissing as it released a cloud of purple smoke. Before anyone could react, the double doors burst open, and a dozen figures in garish makeup and mismatched clothing swarmed into the hall. Jokerz, Terry muttered in frustration. Happy Thanksgiving, you rich dregs, announced a tall figure striding through the center. His face was painted white with an exaggerated red smile stretched across it. A purple suit jacket hung loosely over his lanky frame, and dyed green hair was slicked back. "J. King sends his holiday wishes." Terry instinctively pushed Dana behind him, his muscles tensing for combat. He caught himself just as his mother grabbed his arm. "Terry," she whispered, "stay down." Across the room, Chelsea ducked under a table while Nelson rose to his feet, his former jock bravado taking over. "You dregs picked the wrong party," he bellowed. Commissioner Gordon moved quickly, her hand reaching inside her jacket. "GCPD, everyone down." But J. King was faster. "The commish first," he called, and 3 Jokerz targeted Barbara with precision, firing adhesive gel guns that caught her mid-movement. The pink substance hardened instantly, immobilizing her arms. "We did our homework," J. King cackled. "No police heroics tonight." Simultaneously, the Jokerz fired the same weapons at the plainclothes officers positioned around the room. The commissioner's security detail that Terry had spotted earlier. One Joker with a blue mohawk pointed at Nash, who was still standing. "Got a volunteer!" Before anyone could react, the Joker fired his adhesive gun, catching Nelson square in the chest. The pink gel expanded, knocking him backward and pinning him to the wall. "Anyone else feeling brave?" the leader taunted, his voice echoing in the stunned silence. Terry observed with growing concern how effectively they'd neutralized the biggest threats first. These weren't typical Jokerz. They had strategy, coordination. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is a good old-fashioned robbery with a side of holiday humiliation," J. King announced, twirling dramatically. "We'll be taking the fundraiser cash and your shiny baubles as our Thanksgiving feast." 2 Jokerz wheeled in large laundry carts. "Sorting time," J. King continued. "VIPs and money bags over there." He pointed to one side of the room. "Regular nobodies over there." A brutish Joker with electric knuckle dusters stepped forward, electricity crackling between his fingers. "This is Voltage," J. King introduced. "Anyone tries to play hero like that jock over there gets slimed." Nelson groaned from his position stuck to the wall, the adhesive gel having hardened completely. "Terry," Dana whispered, clutching his hand. "What do we do?" "Nothing yet," he replied, his voice deliberately calm despite the battle calculations running through his mind. "We need to be smart about this." A female Joker with pigtails dyed pink and blue approached their table. "You heard him! Move it!" As guests were herded into groups, Terry found himself being pushed toward the nobodies section with his mother, Matt, and Dana. Chelsea huddled nearby, visibly trembling. Bruce, Barbara, and the other VIPs were being directed to the opposite side of the hall. "Wait!" Maxine called out, grabbing Bruce's arm as a Joker tried to separate them. "I need to stay with Mr. Wayne. I'm his nurse." "Nurse?" The Joker looked skeptical. Max adopted a professional tone. "Mr. Wayne has a severe cardiac condition. He needs constant monitoring, especially under stress." On cue, Bruce broke into a violent coughing fit, doubling over. "Fine, whatever," the Joker muttered. "One less body to watch, but if you try anything..." "I'm just trying to keep him alive," she insisted, supporting Bruce's arm with theatrical concern. As they passed near Terry's group, Bruce stumbled, reaching out to steady himself on Terry's shoulder. His weathered hand pressed something small and hard into Terry's palm, while his coughing intensified, covering the motion. McGinnis closed his fingers around the object, recognizing it as a micro-communicator. Seconds later, Bruce managed to slip an identical device to Max in a similar sleight of hand. "Pathetic old man," one Joker sneered, shoving Bruce forward. Terry slipped the communicator into his ear the moment they turned away, pretending to fix his hair in a nervous gesture. He watched as Bruce and Max were led away, the trio exchanging meaningful glances before being separated. "Zip tie time," J. King announced cheerfully as his crew moved through the groups with plastic restraints. A female Joker named Kiki approached Terry's family, roughly grabbing Mary's wrists. "Terry," Dana whispered from beside him, her eyes wide. "It's okay," he assured her, though everything in him rebelled against watching his mother being restrained. He could disable these Jokers in minutes. Bruce had trained him for exactly these scenarios, but not with everyone watching. Through the communicator, he heard Bruce's voice. 8 Jokers visible from my position. 2 more guarding the kitchen entrance. Weapons appear non-lethal, but dangerous. Max's voice joined in. "The Batsuit is still in the coat check room. We need a plan to retrieve it." Terry watched as Matt was zip-tied next, his little brother's eyes filling with tears he was trying desperately to hold back. Mary was last, whispering reassurances to Matt, even as her own hands trembled. "You're being so brave," she told him softly. "Just like your father would be." The words stung Terry. Would his father be sitting passively in restraints, or would he be fighting back? When Kiki reached Terry, he surrendered his wrists without resistance, maintaining his cover as an ordinary teenager. The plastic dug into his skin as she tightened it with unnecessary force. "Don't worry, it will be okay," Terry called softly to Chelsea and Dana. Chelsea nodded, her usual bubbly personality completely subdued. "This is so not Shui," she whispered back. From his position stuck to the wall, Nelson suddenly shouted, "You're not going to get away with this. Dana's dad is on the city council." "Nelson, shut up," Terry hissed. But it was too late. The leader sauntered over to him, twirling an electric baton. "A politician's kid? Even better." He leaned in close. "Tell me, who's this Dana?" Nelson went quiet. "No answer." The menacing figure laughed. "Guess we'll have to pry it out of you." He nodded to Voltage, who approached slowly, knuckle dusters crackling with energy. "Wait!" Dana's voice cut through the tension as she stood abruptly. I'm Dana." J. King paused, turning to her with exaggerated interest. Well, well," he cooed, combing his hair as he approached her. "Sorry to put such a beautiful guest in the nobodies section. Let me upgrade your accommodations right away." Terry watched with dismay as his girlfriend was led away and placed next to Sam Young and the other high-profile hostages. The VIP hostages stood in a tight cluster, guarded by 3 armed Jokers, including the one called Voltage. "We need to move soon," came Maxine's insistent whisper through the communicator. "I count 12 total, 3 on the VIPs, 2 at each exit, 1 on the money cart, and 4 roaming." "Confirmed," Bruce replied, his voice steady. "McGinnis, you need to reach the coat check, but we need a distraction first." "Working on it," Terry muttered under his breath. Across the room, J. King was rummaging through the donation lockbox, while 2 Jokerz searched guests for valuables. He pulled out stacks of cash and credit chips, holding them up triumphantly. $500,000 in donations, he announced. Not bad for starters, but the real prize? He gestured toward the VIP section. Bruce Wayne, one of Neo Gotham's richest men, Sam Young, the district attorney, and the councilman's daughter. They're worth way more than pocket change. You're kidnapping us? Dana's voice held more anger than fear. Smart girl, Kiki applauded mockingly. Your families will pay handsomely for your safe return. Consider it our own Thanksgiving fundraiser. Through the communicator, Bruce's voice was ice cold. McGinnis, new priority. We stop them before they leave with hostages. Agreed, Max added. But we still have the exit problem. Those doors are magnetically sealed. The Jokerz hacked the security system when they came in. Fire suppression protocols should override it, but I need access to my phone. Terry's mind raced. Max's modified phone was in her purse, which a Joker had confiscated and placed on the check-in table near the main entrance. The same area where his backpack and the batsuit waited in the coat check room. I have a plan, he said quietly, but it's risky. Most of your plans are, Bruce replied dryly. Matt was crying now, trying to be quiet, but failing. Mary pulled him closer with her bound hands, whispering soothing words. Terry watched them, his jaw tightening. His little brother shouldn't have to experience this. None of them should. Chelsea was still shaking, her mascara running. Nelson remained stuck to the wall, his earlier bravado completely deflated. This was exactly why Terry fought. Not for the adrenaline or the glory, but for moments like this. Ordinary people having their lives disrupted by criminals who thought power came from fear and violence. Commissioner Gordon caught his eye from her position against the far wall, still partially encased in the hardened adhesive. Her gaze held understanding and a subtle nod. She was ready to act when the opportunity came. All right, time to load up, the leader announced. Voltage, Twitch. Get our VIP guests ready for transport. Kiki, finish collecting jewelry from the nobodies. As the pigtailed Joker approached their section, Terry leaned toward his mother. Mom, I need you to trust me. Terry, please, if things get crazy, get Matt under a table and stay down. Can you do that? Mary studied his face, seeing something there that both frightened and reassured her. Finally, she nodded. Be careful. Always am. Kiki reached their row, grabbing a pearl necklace from an elderly woman 2 seats down. When she got to Mary, she sneered at her simple gold wedding band. That it? Pretty pathetic. It's all I have, Mary said quietly. My husband gave it to me. Something in her tone made Kiki pause, then move on to Chelsea without taking the ring. Even criminals had occasional moments of humanity. Terry used that moment to catch Max's attention across the room. She was still positioned near Bruce, playing the role of caretaker. She met his gaze and gave the tiniest nod, creating a distraction in 3, 2. Bruce counted down through the communicator. On 1, the old man suddenly collapsed. The reaction was immediate. Bruce's body hit the floor with considerable force, his cane clattering away. He convulsed once, then lay terrifyingly still. Mr. Wayne! Max screamed, dropping to her knees beside him. He's having a heart attack. His medication. I need my bag. Now. Her performance was Oscar-worthy. The Jokerz guarding the VIPs hesitated, uncertain. Please, she begged, looking up at Voltage. He'll die without his pills. They're in my purse at the check-in. Not my problem, Voltage growled, but there was uncertainty in his voice. You want to explain to J. King why you let his richest hostage die? Maxine challenged. No ransom from a corpse. J. King rushed over, his painted face showing genuine concern, not for Bruce's life, but for his payday. Get her bag, quick! As one Joker sprinted toward the check-in table, Terry was already moving. As Kiki passed his row, he stood abruptly, feigning panic. I can't breathe. I need my inhaler. He clutched his chest dramatically, stumbling forward. Sit down, Kiki barked. I can't. Asthma. Terry wheezed convincingly, staggering toward the coat check room. My backpack. My inhaler. Terry, his mother called out, half genuine concern and half playing along without fully understanding. The distraction worked. All eyes turned to the two medical emergencies, Bruce's collapse and Terry's breathing crisis. In the chaos, Commissioner Gordon began subtly working to free herself from the adhesive, using the moment of distraction. Terry reached the coat check room and ducked inside as he finished breaking his zip ties. His backpack was right where Max said it would be. He pulled out the compact batsuit, quickly donning the familiar fabric. Through the communicator, he heard Maxine. I've got my phone, ready to move on your signal. Batman entered a large ventilation shaft before responding. Give me exactly 1 minute, then activate the sprinklers. In the main hall, Maxine was counting down the seconds when she noticed Mary looking worriedly at the coat check room where Terry had disappeared. Mrs. McGinnis, she called out from across the room, still kneeling beside Bruce. Don't worry. Terry will be fine. He's stronger than he looks. Before Mary could respond, J. King's patience snapped. Forget the kid, he shouted. We're out of time. Load the VIPs into the transport van. What about the exits? Twitch asked. Still sealed. I've got the override code, J. King replied, pulling out a remote. We blow the back door, grab our prizes and... Maxine activated the sprinklers before he could finish. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing the hall in eerie red. Then, with a hydraulic hiss, every sprinkler in the ceiling activated simultaneously, raining water down on the assembled crowd. What the slag? J. King shouted. The effect on the adhesive gel was immediate. The water reacted with the compound's chemical structure, causing it to dissolve into harmless foam. Commissioner Gordon felt the substance binding her arms begin to break apart. Nelson, still stuck to the wall, slowly slid to the floor as the adhesive lost cohesion. All over the hall, the door locks disengaged with audible clicks. Fire suppression protocols automatically opening all exits for evacuation. Through the chaos of water and shouting, a dark shape dropped from the ventilation grating above. Batman landed in a crouch near the main entrance, tossing several smoke pellets through the room. It's Batman! Someone screamed. Terry moved like a ghost through the smoke and water, his every action calculated. He struck Voltage from behind, a precisely aimed blow to the base of the neck. The Joker dropped without a sound, his electric knuckles fizzling out in the water. Spread out, their leader ordered. Find him! but finding Batman in his element was like finding a shadow in the dark. Terry circled around to where Dana stood, frozen with the other VIPs. Kiki guarded them, her adhesive gun sweeping nervously through the smoke. He couldn't take her down directly without revealing his position to everyone. Instead, he threw a batarang that severed the sprinkler pipe directly above her. The increased water pressure caught her full in the face, blinding her. As she stumbled backward, Terry swept in low, taking her legs out from under her. She went down hard, and he secured her with his own zip ties before vanishing back into the smoke. "Dana! Sam! Get down!" Commissioner Gordon's voice cut through the chaos. Freed from the adhesive, she'd retrieved her service weapon from a fallen Joker and was taking charge. "Everyone evacuate through the south exit." "Shoot her!" J. King screamed, but his crew was in disarray. Barbara's security detail, also freed from their restraints, had armed themselves. A brief firefight erupted, non-lethal rounds on both sides, but enough to drive the Jokerz toward the remaining exits. Through it all, Batman moved systematically, taking down Jokerz one by one, always from blind angles, always disappearing before anyone could track him. He found Twitch trying to grab hostages near his family's section. Without hesitation, Batman dropped from above, using the low visibility to his advantage. A strike to the temple, and Twitch joined his unconscious companions. But as Terry turned, he found himself face to face with his mother. He quickly cut her zip ties and urged her to escape with Matt. Mary didn't move. "My son is getting his inhaler from the coat room," he interrupted. "I passed him. He's fine." She hesitated a moment, a hint of recognition flashing in her eyes before she scooped up Matt and headed for the nearest exit. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air. Batman turned to see J. King had grabbed Dana in the confusion, dragging her toward the back exit with his remote detonator in hand. "Everyone back or the girl gets it," he shouted. "I'm leaving with at least one hostage." The smoke was thinning now, sprinklers having done their work. Commissioner Gordon had a clear shot at J. King, but not without risking Dana. "Let her go," Batman commanded, stepping forward into clear view. "The Bat himself," the leader laughed, his painted smile manic. "Even better. I'll be famous for the Joker who slagged the Bat." Terry assessed the situation rapidly. J. King's detonator could blow the back door and potentially injure Dana in the process. His grip on her was tight, but not professional. His attention was split between Batman and his remote. "You won't get far," Batman said. "Far enough." J. King's thumb hovered over the detonator button. What happened next occurred in seconds, but felt like hours. Terry threw a batarang, not at the lead Joker, but at the detonator itself. The projectile struck with perfect precision, sending the remote flying from his hand. Simultaneously, Barbara fired a rubber bullet that caught J. King in the shoulder. His grip on Dana loosened. "Get down!" Batman shouted. Dana didn't hesitate, dropping into a crouch as the vigilante closed the distance in 3 powerful strides. His strike was precise and controlled, enough to incapacitate J. King without causing serious injury. The Joker hit the wet floor hard and stayed down. Terry pulled Dana to her feet. "You okay?" She stared up at the masked face, breathing hard. "Yeah. Thanks." Batman stepped back into the thinning smoke, disappearing as Maxine emerged near the coat check, supporting Bruce Wayne on one arm. "Terry," she called out. "Where are you?" Terry appeared a moment later, looking disheveled and wet, but otherwise fine. "I'm here," he called, rushing to Dana. "Are you okay? I heard shouting." Dana turned to Terry, her expression dubious. I'm fine. Batman saved me." Around them, police sirens wailed as backup arrived. Commissioner Gordon took control of the scene with practiced efficiency, her officers securing the unconscious Jokerz. The fundraiser had become a crime scene, but miraculously, there were no serious injuries. Mary found Terry in the chaos, pulling him into a fierce embrace. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine, Mom. Just got wet." He hugged her back, feeling her trembling. "Matt?" "I'm okay." His little brother appeared, soaked but grinning. "Did you see Batman? He was shui." "Yeah," Terry managed. "Pretty shui." Over Matt's head, his mother's eyes met his. That look was back, the one that said she knew, or at least suspected. But she didn't push. Instead, she just held her sons tighter. Bruce approached, leaning heavily on his cane with Max hovering protectively. "Mrs. McGinnis, I'm glad your family is safe." "Thanks to Batman," Mary said, holding her oldest son's gaze. "Indeed," Bruce replied dryly. Dana clung to Terry, burying herself in his arms. "I was so scared," she whispered. "When they took me, I thought..." "You're safe now," Terry said softly, stroking her wet hair. "I'm sorry I didn't do more. You tried to get to me. I saw you stand up when that Joker was leading me away." She pulled back to look at him. "You would have fought them, wouldn't you? For me?" "Always," he promised, meaning it in more ways than she knew. Commissioner Gordon approached their group. "Bruce," she acknowledged. "That was quite a performance. The heart attack?" "Necessary misdirection," Bruce replied with the faintest smile. Barbara's gaze shifted to Terry. "Your intern showed good instincts." "Foolish courage," Terry said, playing his role. "The kind that saves lives," she countered. As additional police units secured the building, one of Barbara's officers approached. "Commissioner, we've got all 12 Jokers in custody. No fatalities, minimal injuries. Witnesses say Batman took down at least 6 of them before disappearing." "Efficient as always," Barbara commented, then addressed the crowd. "Everyone, I know this wasn't the Thanksgiving you planned, but thanks to your cooperation and some unexpected help, everyone's going home safely tonight." A ragged cheer went up from the guests. 2 hours later, the Wayne Foundation had relocated the Thanksgiving dinner to a smaller venue, one of Bruce's properties that doubled as a private event space. The gesture surprised many, including Mary McGinnis. "Mr. Wayne didn't have to do this," she said, as staff set up tables in the elegantly appointed room. "He wanted to," Maxine replied, directing the caterers who'd salvaged what they could from the community center. "Said Thanksgiving shouldn't be ruined by criminals." Bruce himself stood near the fireplace, accepting quiet thanks from various guests. When Mary approached, he straightened slightly. "Mrs. McGinnis, please sit." He gestured to a nearby table. "I hope this arrangement is acceptable." "More than acceptable," she said warmly. "It's incredibly generous. But can I ask you something?" Bruce raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Mary asked, her voice low and earnest. "You don't do events. You don't do public appearances. But tonight, you came out, you put yourself at risk, and now you're hosting everyone here. Why?" Bruce was quiet for a moment, his gaze distant. Finally, he looked at Terry across the room. "Your son. He's shown me that some things are worth the effort. Some people are worth protecting. Some traditions," his voice softened almost imperceptibly, "are worth preserving." Mary followed his gaze to Terry, then back to Bruce. Understanding dawned in her eyes, not the complete truth perhaps, but enough. "He learned that from his father," she said quietly. "Warren always believed in protecting others, even when it cost him everything." "I know," Bruce replied. "Terry mentioned it. Your husband sounds like he was a good man." "He was," her voice caught. "And Terry, he's so much like him. Sometimes it terrifies me." Bruce met her eyes with surprising gentleness. "He's stronger than you know, and he's not alone." The cryptic comment could have meant anything, but Mary nodded slowly, choosing to find comfort in it. Across the room, Dana had pulled Terry aside. "I need to say something," she began. "Dana, let me finish." She took his hands. "I know you've been lying to me. About work, about why you cancelled plans, about everything." Terry's heart sank. "Dana, And I also know," she continued, "that whatever it is, it's important. Important enough that you'd face down Jokerz for me." "In a heartbeat," he admitted. She smiled sadly. "I don't know what you're really doing for Mr. Wayne, but I trust that it matters. I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't get yourself killed being noble." She touched his face gently. "The world needs heroes, Terry, but I need you." He pulled her close, holding her like she might disappear. "I promise." Meanwhile, Bruce was discreetly watching the couple as Maxine appeared at his side. "Think she knows?" she asked quietly. "She's perceptive," Bruce replied. "But knowing and understanding are different things." "Like Mrs. McGinnis?" "Exactly." Max considered this. "For what it's worth, I think you did well tonight. The whole event, coming out of your cave, hosting this dinner. It's very human of you." Bruce snorted. "Don't get used to it, Miss Gibson." "Too late," she grinned, nudging him gently. "You're secretly a big softie." "I most certainly am not." "You literally saved Thanksgiving," she insisted. "That was McGinnis. And you. And you too, old man. We're a team," Maxine said firmly. "All of us. And teams look out for each other." Bruce didn't respond immediately, but when he did, his voice was softer. Your parents would be proud of you, Maxine. The work you do, the person you've become. Max blinked, surprised by the unexpected sentiment. Thanks, old man. I mean, Mr. Wayne. As dinner was finally served, admittedly late but still warm, the assembled guests gathered around hastily arranged tables. Despite everything, or perhaps because of it, the atmosphere was festive. Commissioner Gordon stood to make a toast. Tonight didn't go as planned, she began, earning light laughter. But it reminded me what Thanksgiving is really about. Not the food, not the decorations, but the people we share them with, the ones we protect, and the ones who protect us. Her gaze found Terry's table, lingering meaningfully. So here's to family, both the one we're born with and the one we choose, to heroes in the shadows and the light, and to a happy Thanksgiving. Hear, hear, the crowd responded, raising glasses. At the McGinnis table, Mary raised her water glass. To my boys, she said softly, including Matt in her warm gaze but holding Terry's eyes, who make me proud every single day, even when they scare me half to death. Terry clinked his glass against hers, understanding the subtext. To family, he agreed. Then, louder, including Dana and Max, who had joined their table. To everyone who matters. As the meal continued, Matt entertained the table with his dramatic retelling of the evening's events, complete with sound effects. And then, Batman just drops from the ceiling like whoosh, and the Jokerz were all like, ah. I don't think they screamed quite that high-pitched, Terry interjected, grinning. They totally did. Right, Mr. Wayne? Bruce, to everyone's surprise, actually smiled. A real one, not his social mask. The young man's account seems accurate to me. The table erupted in laughter. Later, as the evening wound down and guests began departing, Terry found himself alone with his mother for a moment. They stood by the window, watching snow continue to fall over Neo Gotham's glittering skyline. I know, Mary said finally. Mom, I don't know everything, she clarified. And maybe I don't want to, but I know you're doing something dangerous, something important, something your father would. Her voice broke slightly. Something he would understand. Terry turned to face her. I'm sorry. For lying. For making you worry. Don't apologize for trying to make the world better. She touched his face gently, the same way she had when he was small. Just come home. Every night. That's all I ask. I will, he promised. Always. And hun? She smiled through tears. Whatever you're doing, whoever you are when you're not here, I'm proud of you. So proud. He hugged her tightly, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. As the evening ended and families departed, Terry stood with Max and Bruce at the entrance, watching guests leave into the snowy night. Some Thanksgiving, Maxine commented. Could have been worse, Terry replied. Could have been calmer, the old man added dryly. Where's the fun in that? Terry watched his family climb into their car, his mother, his brother, Dana with them since her father was still tied up with police statements. They all waved as they pulled away. You know what I'm thankful for? Terry said quietly. Do tell, Max replied. This, all of it. The insanity, the responsibility, the impossible balance. Having people I care about, people who believe in me even when they don't fully understand. He looked at his mentor, having guidance from someone who's been there. Bruce was silent for a moment before replying. I'm thankful too. The old man paused, his expression difficult to read. For not being alone anymore, he admitted. For partners I can trust. For family of a sort. Max's eyes widened. Terry felt something warm expand in his chest. Me too, Maxine said softly. Happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Wayne, Terry added. Then, most unexpectedly, Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight, the lone guardian of Gotham for decades, allowed himself a genuine smile. Happy Thanksgiving, he replied warmly. Above them, Neo Gotham's skyline glittered with lights and falling snow. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed, and Batman would answer the call. But for now, the three stood together, grateful not just for the peaceful resolution, but for each other.